Hello,
Hello.
welcome back to the channel. Today is the final part of our chronicle of our journey through PDA. We started at pregnancy and we've gone all the way through diagnosis, nursery, school, and today's video is going to be about our experience now. If you haven't already and you want to check out the previous videos, there'll be links somewhere around here or they're on our page, so please make sure you check them out. And yeah, so what is life like now? He's 8 years old as we record this. We've had a diagnosis for 3 years and life is very different to what we expected it would be at this point, in lots of different ways. But it's possibly useful for us to talk about what our kind of daily experience is and the things that we wish we had known were going to happen. The first thing is that we've had to be really flexible on sleep. We found a very long time ago that the more we try and force him to go to sleep at a certain time, the worse it was, and school only compounded that because he had to get up at a certain time for school. So we have a bedtime that is based more around his body rhythm, and he wakes up a bit later than we would have expected, and he goes to bed a bit later than he would have expected. But overall,
it works for us.
It works for us. The only issue comes if there's something we have to get up for early in the morning because the world still works around an earlier timetable, and then obviously we're tired.
But we always try, and if we're making appointments and things, we always try and make them later in the day so that doesn't happen. There are the odd occasion when it does, and that's when it can be a bit tricky.
And we did have a time where we go swimming, and the only space they had was very early in the morning, and very quickly we realised that even though he really enjoyed the swimming session, that was really not good for him, and he was melting down again like he was when he was back at school straight afterwards. We changed that to an afternoon session and that fixed the problem straight away. It took the pressure off us. We weren't then getting stressed trying to get out of the house for a certain time, and it meant that, as with most things, we have to allow a lot longer to get ready for them. We have to try and forewarn him that things are going to happen, and the balance is being prescriptive enough that what's going to happen so he expects it, but not so detailed that he feels trapped and unable to express himself and have control of the situation. So some autistic profiles find having a kind of a visual timetable or a minute detail of what's going to happen very useful. He finds that the opposite. He finds that really difficult.
Really demanding.
Even when it's one he's designed himself. We did that when he was at school.
I got a whiteboard, and I said to him, we can even draw pictures. You can draw pictures of at what time, you write the time, and you can say what time you get up, and then you can draw a picture of your cereal or your whatever, your clothes or whatever. You can draw the pictures and everything, because we thought that would help as it's a routine, and we thought, oh great, that'll help.
And you're doing it when we were doing it, but the next morning,
because it's a demand, that just didn't work. It just made things worse.
And it just goes to show you, even self demands, or the micro demands that we mentioned in one of the other videos, the micro demands of the getting ready for school in the morning was so intense that even if he woke up, he was waking up, and because he was tired, we were having to wake him up, which before you even open your eyes, someone's putting a demand on you to wake up.
Yeah.
You've already started the day anxious and on edge. And the world would work so much better for him if he was able to do things when he was ready for them rather than when they wanted him to do it. So we've tried so hard to try and implement that kind of routine. There's always going to be things that you can't do that with, and they are difficult, and
hard.
There's no getting away from it. It's hard, and he'll have a meltdown about. We've learned to take ourselves away from far enough away that he can't hurt us if he's having a meltdown, to protect us and to protect himself, because afterwards he will feel incredibly upset and negative about himself, because he can see from a logical point of view that behaviour isn't acceptable, but when he's having a meltdown he can't control himself and he can't help himself. So we're trying to protect him by keeping ourselves safe, but still giving him the support and the love and affection that he needs when he needs it.
With meal times, we completely removed the whole demand of having to sit at the dining table and be more relaxed. Max is able to have his meals where he wants them, and we don't have to be, we must sit at the dining table all together and eat our food at this set time. We try to be as relaxed and demand free as possible.
He has certain safe foods that we kind of fall back on, and there'll be times where he'll have that meal several times, and the rest of us will have different stuff, which is tiring and more work, but it means that we all get to eat. And as long as he's eating a varied enough diet to get all the nutrients and everything he needs, which he does, then there's no point causing a meltdown by trying to force him to have something that is just going to make him feel more anxious. And as he's got older, he has very slowly, very gradually started to expand that circle of safe food. So hopefully as he carries on getting older, that will start to expand. And I don't think he'll ever be the world's best eater with the biggest range, but as long as he's happy and getting everything he needs, that's what matters.
Absolutely.
I think one of the reasons why he feels so safe eating in his room, for instance, is because of all the work we've done to try and make it into an environment where he feels like that.
We spent a long time during the first lockdown getting his room how he wants it and what he needs with it as well. So we made it very, very dark, and we have blackout curtains and a dark ceiling to make it really, really sensory. And we've got an Alexa light as well that changes colour, which really helps him when he's having a meltdown. We can just turn it to green, and then at night time, to help induce sleep, we turn it to red, which really does help as well.
We also removed the door from the room for safety. We removed it from both children's rooms because we didn't want it to be highlighted that one child had a door and one child didn't.
We found that it was becoming incredibly dangerous having the doors, because it was just used a lot during meltdowns or when they were playing, so it was just safer to remove them for now anyway.
We have sensory lights in there, so he has a bubble light with fish in it, which he finds really soothing. He has a stretchy wraparound blanket thing on his bed that he can go under, which gives him pressure on. He has a vibrating pillow to help him relax.
Massager as well, relax massage before bedtime, which really, really helps him.
And it's still a work in progress, we're still things we want to change in there and still things we want to add in and things that he needs, but we try to adapt that room to as much as it can be to what he needs without him feeling like it's making him different. So in an ideal world, we would probably like to have padded ceilings and walls and floors to keep him safe when he's having a meltdown, but trying to do that in a way that he wouldn't feel awkward if a friend came round and saw his room with his padding. So it's finding the balance between what he needs and what he wants.
Yeah. Another demand that we removed was wearing clothes for him, not for us. If he finds clothes very, very sensory, and it makes everything quite difficult for him when he's out and about and things. So we said, at home, if you don't want to wear clothes, then that's fine. He wears pants and is comfortable. We make sure the heating's on so he's warm, and that just helps him. So if it helps, then take clothes away.
And obviously, because of that, he's then able to tolerate wearing clothes when we do go anywhere. Yeah. Or we're in a situation where people are coming around, not so much at the moment, but when people would come round, or when we do these videos. So for instance, quite often he will get dressed to do these videos, and they'll go into his room and strip him back off and get into his bed to keep warm. because he finds that's giving him less demands on his sensory input. And he's mentioned several times about how the school uniform in particular was very difficult to deal with, and the hard chairs and having to sit at a table for a long period of time, which we've completely removed. And when we do teaching, it tends to be either in his bedroom on his bed, or on the soft living room floor, or on the sofa, or wherever is an environment where he's comfortable.
With clothes as well, whenever we buy any new clothes, we always make sure that they pass the soft test. They have to be soft, and also remove any itchy labels. He's got a few t-shirts where many times I've had to cut the labels out, or you've had to cut the labels out, so that it's not itchy or uncomfortable for him, and irritate him, because the labels are a big irritant on his skin. He finds them very, very uncomfortable.
I think as parents of a child, or just parents in this situation, it's important to give yourself a break, because nobody's perfect. You're doing the best you can. We're doing the best we can, and we don't get it right.
There's
all
so
the
many
time.
times we don't get it right, and we are in any way perfect with it.
You know, we've got our own things going on with ourselves as well. There's times where you can be really on it and I'm struggling, and equally there's times where I can be on it and you might be struggling, and we support each other.
Well, we both struggle.
We both struggle.
Then that is when it's really, really hard, because you're both struggling, and then, you know, meltdowns happen, you know, and then you think, right, okay, tomorrow I'll do better, you know.
And you're allowed to feel grief that things are the way they are. It doesn't make you a bad person for not being happy all the time that you're in the situation. It's difficult, and it can be tough, and it can be demanding, and not exhausting, and a whole other range of emotions, and it's okay to feel that way. And I think that's one of the hardest things as a parent to do, is give yourself a break and just let go of those expectations you had before you had kids, of what kind of parent you were going to be, and adjust to the kind of parent that your child needs you to be. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you found this video useful, and the whole series in general. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads, and we'll be back soon with another lot. Bye.
Bye.